Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2004, not animated, feature film Spider-Man 2. I don't know why I was going to say animated. So, this is the sequel to 2002's Spider-Man film directed by Sam Raimi. On both fronts, Tobey Maguire is back as Spider-Man. James Franco is back as Harry Osborn. This is the introduction of Dr. Otto Octavius, aka Doc Ock. J.K. Simmons is back as J. Jonah Jameson. John Jameson is introduced into this, and Dan Gillies, is that how you say his last name? Plays John in this. I had no idea. Kirsten Dunst plays Mary Jane again, but Dan we know from the Vampire Diaries and the originals, playing one of the Michelson siblings. I had no clue, and he's standing there up on the altar, and I'm like, why do I see just blood gushing out of his face and going... And I was like, oh, he's a vampire. It's just like this brain blast. So, this is a great movie. One of the highest rated Spider-Man films. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think, is a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Spider-Man Homecoming is a 93%. And then this Spider-Man 2, is a 92%. Or I might have switched it. It could have been, this is a 93%, and then Spider-Man Homecoming with Tom Holland is a 92%. Whatever. It's still in the top 3 rated of Spider-Man films. So, and that's massive. That's a huge deal, especially for a superhero film or a comic book movie. And like this was arguably the best superhero movie, simply because they did the whole Spider-Man is gone, Spider-Man no more storyline from the comics. So like Peter, like he's slacking in school, and he can't express his feelings to MJ, and like he's just doing terrible in life, so he just gives up Spider-Man and then becomes really great again, and he gains that self-confidence back and becomes Spider-Man once again after he regains the confidence. Dr. Octavius is of course the villain in this, but we get his backstory, not backstory, but like origins of like how he became Doc Ock. J. Jonah is hysterical in this. Elizabeth Banks playing her character in this as well. Perfect. The best scene in this entire movie, and any cultured individual will agree to you on this, especially in film, the subway scene, the subway train, when he has to figure out how to get the webs to attach to the buildings and like brace himself, and like that whole just moment of exhaustion, and then he almost falls, and then the guy catches him, but his mask is off, and then they pull him over themselves, like crowd surf him, through the train. And like, of course, there's 1,000 memes right now, but like in 2002, you didn't really. What was that? 19 years ago, you didn't have those kinds of memes. Memes were not a popular thing in 2002. So it's the whole like, make way, he's a hero meme. It's brilliant, but like, when he realizes he doesn't have his mask and everybody's staring at him and there's no music. I mean, Danny Elfman is back doing the score, but there is no music during that scene. And it gets so emotional. And the other scene where you get so emotional is when Peter is talking to Aunt May, reminiscing how he didn't actually go to the library when Uncle Ben was shot. He had Uncle Ben drop him off at the library, but he went to go try to win some money. Then that robber stole the money from the bookie guy, and then Peter just let him go in a revenge kind of thing. And then the guy wanted a car, but Uncle Ben wouldn't give him a car, so he shot Uncle Ben, and he was the one good guy. The one guy who tried to do good was punished that night. So like there was no music. And when you have heavy music, heavy dramatic brass section going through a superhero film, to then have absolutely dead silence as the characters are crying and have this emote coming through, incredible. And that's why this movie is so highly rated, because it is so on point with the level of Spider-Man emotion. Harry and Peter having those heart-to-hearts, Harry constantly being mad because Peter takes pictures for Spider-Man, and Spider-Man killed his dad, and then Harry eventually finds out that Peter is Spider-Man, and Peter goes, Harry, there are bigger things going on right now than you and me. Where's Mary Jane? It's just mind-blowing. More no music scenes. And then Harry, at the end of the film, finds his father's stash of Green Goblin stuff. So in the next film, we see him as the new Goblin. And then we got Topher Grace, of all people. We love our Topher. Being Eddie Brock, the photographer, and Bryce Dallas Howard is our beloved Gwen Stacy. It's so funny going back to these movies because you're like seeing how far these people have gone since then in their acting worlds. I have a fun story of Bryce Dallas Howard within that third movie, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. But yeah, this is just such a perfect movie. 92 or 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't remember which one, but it's a top 3 Spider-Man film. There's no getting around that. You got Amazing Spider-Verse. You got, I'm gonna say, I think it's this one. I think it's Spider-Man 2, and I think it's Homecoming right after that. Whew, perfect, beautiful, excellent, wonderful. We are done. Amazing, amazing Spider-Man. Mahalo.